So for the primary section of our data collection, on where we're gonna get the data for our course to work on later on, we can divide that into collection, detection, and analysis. So the collection can be mainly from network behavior, network activity, human editing, or even small information like the movement of the mouse or the keyboard, the frequency of accessing the access control system, the time of the day, as well as we can also combine the data from the global events to be concurrent at the same time. This way we can get a huge picture of all this big data towards our network system or the cybersecurity of our system. That we will discuss tools, techniques, and procedure. Many of them are very popular, and many of them we just will go fast. So then for the collection, for example, we need to identify what is the highest risk of the organization and try to detect that and get the data around the specific part. We identify the threats, who defines the collection of the data resource, who collects the data ports. We can see the building storage and the logs around that, and also configure the hardware and software and the frequency of this configuration. All this is the data that we gonna work around and can help us, as well as global events. For the detection, usually it's signature or anomaly or statistical analysis that are used right now, but we use a more advanced technique. It's not only statistics, it's data science about detection of these events. For the analysis, most of the system use packet analysis, network forensics, host forensics, or malware analysis. In our case here, we look at the data as our end result. So we're gonna move this a little bit and look at the data as main resource of analysis. Some of the data resource that we hear about in the environment, that they have a lot of latency, so we need to improve that, and this is where we look at the data from this point of view, including some of the analytical skills that we're going to learn. For example, the mean and median, and what is the difference between them. Many people using in specifically with the wrong meaning about what is the mean and what is the median. We need to study what is the sample size and the quantity and what is the difference between them, and how that will affect the data quality and our end result later on the analysis. How to get a clean data without bias and assumptions, and how bias and assumption can actually sabotage our end result, and how can affect the data in a bad way. And this is what we need to learn from looking at the data. Topics are included in the big data and data-driven cybersecurity, including the cyber attacks and analysis of incidents, software testing, threat anticipation, security, and how to build a better security architecture, as well as what is the response with a very precise advice that we can get managerial level of management of managing the company later on. And one of the important parts of any data is a visualization, because at the end we're a human being, and visualization one of the most important peripheral we have to make decision. Whenever to reach that point, I usually feel sorry for our technology right now that cannot afford a better representation of data for people with some accessibility needs, especially in the visualization part. However, one of my friends was proposing a 3D visualization graph, which is actually a piece of plastic with small pins that can actually help people with vision aids to visualize graphs on a 3D, which I was very amazed to see and participate in its development. Other than that, we will learn about how to make the data more visible, especially in the reports, because if the managers or the decision-making team cannot see the problem, they literally will not be able to get a best solution for that. So our role as a data security specialist here is to learn how we can present our data, different platform, different colors, different tools, even using audio video, and how to make it even closer to the end user and tailor it towards that. We'll learn about skills, techniques, about the data and all of that towards the end of our course. One of the interesting books that I usually like to read is the Data-Driven Computer Security Defense. The computer security defense you should be using. This is the name of the book. It was written by Logan Grimmers in 2017. I recommend you just don't buy the book, just go through it because you're gonna read it basically once, just to get the information about how data-driven is important in the cybersecurity and how it affects our life now and how it will affect the future later on. Some of the skills that you're gonna gain during this course is how to treat the threat extent, how to develop TCP/IP protocol and what is the meaning behind them, how to get a common application layer protocol running and working for you, how to collect data from the packet analysis, see the architecture of the OS and how we're gonna get data from different OS, events log and so on. For example, Windows, Linux, Android, and iOS. Data parsing, what is the usage of the IPS and how to get data out of it. We will not build an IDS or IPS again from scratch as we did in other courses, but here we just see what data they provide and how we're going to use them towards our needs. How to tune their signatures, how to create an automated intelligent gathering, not only gather all the information that's it, but actually an automated system, as well as to make a basic diagnosis of the current methods that we have. Anytime we talk about network monitoring, there's a lot of challenges. One of them, there's no standards, and it's more than art than science or an IT tool. Also, there's a gap between academical and industrial practice, and by using the data, hopefully it can glue these small gaps on filling the gaps between them, so we can actually gain more trust to our AI and machine learning to the network specialists out there. So the conclusion here, you need to know your network before you work on. The visualization tool are very important, and you really cannot manage something that you cannot see. Remember this. So this is why we'll use it as our first approach to get the correct data, clean it up, and then the visualization. And the data-driven is decision making at the end. This is the goal of any data and all the goal of our data analysis of the system that we have and security system in special. So I'm gonna stop here and we'll bring back my screen to the video here. So yeah, so this is our first module. Starting from the next module, we'll start to build system and have hands-on. Right now, I would like you just to introduce yourself as an assignment. Tell me what's your background, what courses you have took in the cybersecurity track before, if you are from the SOIT. If you are not, just tell me what is your background, how well you know the network, and what are the statistic or mathematics class that you took before. The assignment is available in the module. It should be straightforward just to know what is the class you are, and you're gonna introduce it to each other, so at least grade to students, and it will be very fun beginning of the class. If you have any question, let me know, and our next module will be published on the next Tuesday. Thank you so much.